All right, let's continue in 1 Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 10 regarding marriage. And unto the married I command, yet not I, but the Lord, let not the wife depart from her husband. But and if she depart, let her remain unmarried or be reconciled to her husband, and let not the husband put away his wife. We see here the perfect will of God regarding marriage, that two, they get married, stay married. Mark chapter 10, Jesus tells the Pharisees there was provision made in the law for divorce because of the hardness of man's heart, but that's not God's perfect will regarding marriage. Chapter 10, verse 6, from the beginning of the creation, God made them male and female. For this cause shall a man leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife, and they twain shall be one flesh. So then, they are no more twain, but one flesh. What therefore God hath joined together, let not man put asunder. Back to our text. So it's the will of God when two get married that they stay married, especially two born-again believers. Ephesians 5 says that the husband-wife relationship represents Christ and the church. Ephesians chapter 5 says, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself for it. And we know that Christ loves born-again believers, the church, his bride, with an everlasting love. He will never cast us away. No matter how we have failed him, he is faithful to us. And as Christians, our marriage relationship is to display that. But not all marriages comprise of two born-again believers, and that's why verse 12 is there. But to the rest speak I, not the Lord. If any brother hath a wife that believeth not, and she be pleased to dwell with him, let him not put her away. And the woman which hath a husband that believeth not, if he be pleased to dwell with her, let her not leave him. For the unbelieving husband is sanctified by the wife, and the unbelieving wife is sanctified by the husband. Else were your children unclean, but now are they holy. So if you're a believer and your spouse is unbelieving, and they want to stay with you, let them stay. There is a special protection, it seems, for the unbelieving spouse or yet unregenerate children in a household of one who is born again. Now, here's a provision made in a Christian marriage for divorce. Verse 15, if the unbelieving depart, let him depart. A brother or sister is not under bondage in such cases. And later in verse 27, we'll see that same language speaking of being married. Such cases, but God has called us to peace. For what knowest thou, O wife, whether thou shalt save thy husband? Or how knowest thou, O man, whether thou shalt save thy wife? And so, provision is made in a Christian marriage. If you are married to an unbeliever and they depart, you are no longer bound to that marriage.